All right, Matthew. We're back. Matthew Quayle here.
We're on the other side of 7 now. This is number 8.
John Gundry here. That's me.
I'm Matthew
You,
Quayle.
Matthew. I, John.
Me, John.
Episode number 8.
The all-important. We're over the hump now. It's
Yeah, we're past the sort of the doomsday scenario for most podcasts. We're on to 8. It's all up. Well, it's all steady sailing from here.
That's right.
Okay, so today we're going to get right into the rundown of the show. The guitar argument, all important guitar argument, is going to be last week. Can you have too many guitars? This week, can you have too many guitar effect pedals? Matthew, you're kind of silent.
Well, I think you can have too many guitar pedals. Some people don't think you can.
That's true. We haven't decided which side you were going to take on this. Have you?
Maybe we should do that coin flip. Or do a real live coin flip.
I don't have one. Well, we'll figure that out.
We'll figure that out.
Okay, so Matthew, we're going to go on. So again, the guitar argument is too many guitar effect pedals.
Right.
Is it possible? We don't know, but we're going to find out.
We're going to argue about it.
But let's get to the throwback mailbox. You know, we've had feedback from viewers and listeners, and we got one that was flattering.
Oh,
but
let's hear it.
It had maybe a commentary that you might find. I don't know if you're going to like it, but I'll read it.
I've got a thick skin. Let's hear it.
Okay, you guys have the best show.
Thank you.
It's just amazing.
We agree.
But you have too many commercials.
We have too many commercials.
That's what it says, and there's an exclamation point there. So in the world of online commentary, that's important. That's a for emphasis and that has real meaning. But it wasn't bold.
Should we let him in on a secret?
What?
This is really an infomercial.
That's right. Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
you see the.
It is.
You said throwback.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All brainwashing.
No one noticed the logo before that. But okay, so there's more. There has got to be a better way. I don't know. I can barely stand it. Too many, too long. Have to readjust screen size every time to skip it. It's just bad.
Wow.
I will try to endeavor to persevere. LOL. So it's a little tongue in cheek, but Matthew. But what do you think about that?
I'm shocked. I would like my funny little ads. I thought
well,
people
I thought they
like,
were serious.
They're serious. They're done in a kind of a humorous vein, but they're serious. Yes. Content is serious.
That's right.
But
do you have one for us this week?
Yeah, I'm undaunted. I'm going to do another one.
Okay.
So
hold on.
You set it up.
Okay. Well, this viewer may want to. Cover his ears right now.
Covers ears or get out of the room.
Okay.
This one will probably last about a minute.
All right,
minute 20, let's say.
I haven't heard this one, but let's hear it.
Okay, ready? At Throwback, we don't chase volume. We chase truth. The truth in every vintage tone, every winding pattern, every nuance that made the golden era PAF pickups legends to begin with. Big manufacturers cut corners to meet quotas. We obsess over corners others don't even see. From metallurgy of our slugs and screws to the tension of the coil wires as it passes over vintage correct bobbins. Every element is scrutinized, tested, and dialed in by ear and feel, not spreadsheets and machines. Why? Because tone isn't a product of mass production. It's born from focus. And that's where Throwback lives. In the fine print, in the under microscope moments, in the space where tone gets made or missed. If you want pickups built with that kind of care that scale can't buy, pickups that just don't sound vintage but are vintage in spirit and build, you want Throwback. Throwback pickups wound to be heard, built to be legendary.
You're sticking with that little tag at the end.
Yes.
Okay. Matthew, you had a little hiccup in the delivery there.
Did I? I'm sorry. I practiced it.
We may have to replace you with, these may have to be pre-recorded.
Maybe they'll have to do that. I'm sorry. Maybe we'll Maybe we'll do something different next time, or we'll take a break from it.
Well, I think all of that was true, though. Well done.
I'd like to move on to do next time. Maybe if we have time, we could do. I'd like to do like a TV type thing with some, maybe a pre-recorded thing to do. We'll do some video.
Well, we need to do that.
Some
Yes,
like slow motion glamour shots.
Sure. We'll work on that.
Something to think about.
Just to make it ever more tempting for people to have the throwback experience by, buying some through the throwback website.
Exactly.
Okay, so that was the viewer mailbox. Matthew, you seemed slightly phased, but you made it through your old fashioned radio spot.
If I hiccup, then I'm going to blame the viewer mail, because I did practice that pretty well.
Ooh. Maybe it just hit a little chink in the armor there. Okay. All right. So we're going to go on to tools and tips.
Right.
Now, you just, when sitting down here, you said you felt bass players were neglected. And now, so you've got a tip or a tool here.
I have a little tool.
Should I let you go first?
Sure. If you want to, or
okay, sure.
Okay. So which camera can I put this up to?
Well, either one.
Can people see that? That is this is for our neglected bass players. I play bass in our little blues band that we practice once a week. And
what's your nickname?
Do I have a nickname? I don't even know about.
I was giving you a chance to make one up.
Oh, well, I don't have one. Maybe you can't make your own nickname up. You have to be given. Someone has to give you. What did you say?
The bottom end.
The bottom end. There you go.
But I don't know.
Okay, so
maybe viewers can.
I'll turn this on.
Maybe viewers can think of a appropriate bass playing nickname for Matthew and a blues band.
Anyway, this is a Diodero Eclipse cello / bass tuner. It's a PW-CT-17 CBK. Maybe we can put a link in it.
Yep, I'll do that.
I was using another brand, and they were dying on me. And this one sort of was advertised as once designed for low-end instruments, so cellos and upright basses and electric basses. I find it very, very good. You can go through your strings very quickly. It captures the low frequency.
Quick reaction time?
Yeah. The other one, it would take a while, and sometimes you would have trouble with the low E. But this thing is very good, and it's the same price or a little bit cheaper than anything on the market.
It's flashing right now.
Yeah.
Is it on?
I turned it on. I think I'll turn it off there.
Okay.
It goes off automatically in 5 minutes if you forget to turn it off. But
okay.
It's a nice little unit. They're inexpensive. They're like $15.
All right. I will put a link in there in the ever-growing link library.
There you go.
And okay. Then it's on to my tool and tip. Okay, so along the lines of people sort of learning to guitar players learning to do some basic maintenance, repair, and setup, this is a good tool for that. Now, this is currently called a sold by Stuart McDonald. I guess is probably the easiest source for these. They call it a Micromesh touch-up stick. Now, I actually discovered these years and years ago. They used to be called, and I found one in my toolbox here because they stopped making them for a while. It used to be called a FlexiFile Polisher Finisher. And I don't know, can you see that? Maybe you can't. But these were actually made by a company that was headquartered here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Because I used to get these at Writer's Hobby Shop here in town. And they would come in a little package. And it's a Grand Rapids, Michigan. So these used to be made in town here. I assume they were made in town. And then they kind of disappeared and reappeared under several different brand names, but the Stuart McDonald Micromesh touch-up stick is exactly the same thing. These are very useful for, let's say, if you have frets that you want to polish, maybe they're already leveled and dressed, and you want to just clean them up instead of using steel wool and getting the little bits of steel wool stuck to your pickups. This works great. It's got three grits. There's a little coarser, finer, and then a very fine polishing grit on the back. And by the time you get to this third grit, you'll have a very well polished fret. This also works great if you're fashioning a nut for your guitar and you want to do a kind of final polish on it. This works great for that as well.
I've used them. They're very good. You've given me some.
Yeah, so I get a little stack of these and use them up. Generally, I use this one. Obviously, has done some fret stuff. Although I think I've done some with the nut there also. But generally, you keep one for a bone nut and one for frets. You can also use these for little touch-up areas for finishes. Although I think you might be better off with with coarser grits, or not coarser grits, finer grits of micro mesh.
Cloth.
Yeah, the actual micro mesh cloth. But this will work in a pinch for that as well. So that is currently the Stuart McDonald micro mesh touch-up stick. And I'll put a link to that in the ever-growing Amazon list of, assuming it's available on Amazon, I think it is, list of links that we've got in the description of these podcasts.
Cool.
So that's mine. So we've got a double set of tips here, Matthew, you, and me. All right, that we've made it through that. We're going on, Matthew, to the guitar argument.
That's right.
The guitar argument this week is can you have too many pedals? Is possible.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. And then we're talking, of course, about guitar effect pedals. Many kind of feel, the guitar effect pedal is, maybe the magic sauce to their final tonal goal. Mm-hmm. They got the guitar, they got the amp, but they want that little bit of extra something. Or maybe they get the amp that they use the pedals as a way to shape their tone. So they have multiple pedals to provide different types of distortion. And we'll just find out if that is folly, the acquisition of these pedals, and is this something that can spiral out of control into too many? Which side of this are you going to take, Matthew?
If I could decide. Are you going
to defend that too many, you can have too many, are you going to claim that you can have too many, or are you going to defend that it's impossible to have too many?
I'll take that.
Pedals.
I'll take the latter there. I'll take that it's impossible.
And I'm going to assert that you absolutely can have too many. Okay. You're going to. I think you do well starting these things, Matthew. Do you agree?
Sure, I don't mind doing it.
I like you to start, and then I can pounce
right when you're fielding.
When you're done.
I've left myself open. So start the clock.
Let's see. Let me get 5 minutes on here. We're going to do this for 5 minutes, and we will talk in reasoned terms, like the adults we are, or pretend to be, and then people can, hopefully do the same, and the audience out there
they can learn from us. We won't resort to any violence.
Hopefully, we will cover both sides of this, and people will they won't have to resort to drastic measures in order to have their views heard. They'll hear it right now from us.
Right.
Okay. 5 minutes starting now.
Okay. Reasons why you cannot have enough pedals. They are a way of expressing yourself sonically. They're like voices. And they're voices for different genres. So people probably just don't play one type of music. And if you're ever having a lull in your playing, you can switch up different pedals in a chain and discover new things constantly. So they're very affordable. They can range in price from, you can get very nice ones in the $30 to $40 range, all the way up to, if you want to spend, if you want to go into the collector's realm, then we're talking thousands. But they they're a tool, and it's like a tool in a toolbox. You can never really have enough, and you're going to have you can have one for overdrive, for distortion, for modulation, for delay, for reverb, and then you have maybe these crazy ones they have today that you like to call
noise machines.
Noise machines, things that are just weird,
but to make your guitar sound like it's bubbling out of the deep of the sea.
But they act as a way of maybe keeping people interested in playing, and then they act as a form of inspiration, and then probably in time they do become collectible because some of these companies go out of business, and lo and behold, you may have something very desirable on your hand you didn't even know you had, but you just bought because you were interested. But I look at them as, in that respect, of just another color in your color palette. So
okay, you're done?
I'm done.
You're done. Okay. So the question is, can you have too many? Now, I would probably agree with you that it's an essential item for an electric guitar player to have some pedals. But the problem becomes when you have too many, that people, rather than using them as tonal tools, they use them as like so many Pokemon cards. They have some sort of flashy. It becomes less about the actual sound tool and what the pedal looks like. We sell effect pedals. I've literally had people ask me for things like, "Can you make me this pedal without a logo on it, without the name on it?" Because they wanted to have something super unique in this sort of idea of having something collectible and unique on its own, rather than appreciating it for the sound content that it brings. They become sort of like little Lego pieces that people mix up and change on their pedal board, rather not for sonic reasons necessarily, but because they have a spot for it. Right? Mm-hmm. I don't want the sound. I need a box that fits in a 2-inch by 3-inch space.
Oh, really? So they don't care what it is.
It doesn't matter. It's not like, oh, I need a distortion box that sounds great. I need one that'll fit in this little rectangle. And it could be, well, you've got a great one that fits in the horizontal rectangle, but I need one that fits in the vertical rectangle. So it becomes less about the sound. And then you accumulate more and more of these things. Also, too, a player may decide, well, I like this style of, let's say it's an ODR1 Nobles type pedal. And they're like, well, I like that one, but there might be a better one out there along this line of style of pedal. And then, a year later, you've got now 6 of them. They're all essentially the same thing, but in the quest to get the perfect sound out of it, finding the one, you go down this road where now you have too many. And in the surface, it's about the sound, but in reality, it's about accumulating more stuff without focusing on the playing that actually results in progression as a player and satisfaction with the tone that you're getting, because you're concentrating on what you can do as a player with your hands to make a beautiful sound, rather than relying upon a button to get you what you think is great.
Is that our timer?
That's 5 minutes.
When
was I too harsh there?
No. It is an interesting subject. That, when you were talking there, I was reminded of, there's this I thought it was a famous. I always think about it when I think about Too Many Pedals, and there's a scene in that film, This Might Get Loud, where the Edge is in this studio rehearsal space, and it looks like it's probably in Dublin somewhere, but he has a wall of rack mounted effect pedals, not even talking about, and then foot pedals, and then everything. And he's running through, just trying to figure stuff out,
Yeah.
and come up with ideas, sonic ideas that he can present. Obviously, I think to the band, they come up with something new, to new material. And at one point, he shuts everything down, and he says, "This is what I'm actually playing." I think it's actually one of their kind of more famous riffs. And with everything shut down, he said, "This is all I'm playing."
Yeah, it's very basic.
Super, super basic. But
Yeah.
through all that stuff, it's like, oh my gosh.
Well, along the lines that it really is about collecting, it is sort of like Pokemon cards. It's sort of the effect pedals went from being individual units to then you had this rack mount era.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had an era which is today, where you have these multi-effect pedals that basically there's no need. You could get a Line 6 pedal that will really just do about everything very well, but you have to toggle through menus to get everything. But yet you still have people that want to buy the individual pedals. So it is partly about, I think a big part of it is, and I kind of understand it, is about having, an individual item that does this thing. And you're like, oh, that's the perfect one for this. I'll put that on the board for this song. And, but it's, as a practical matter, you don't really need them, but there's still this, all of them. So it is easy to, I guess, to technically have too many. And I have, from practical terms, because you really can do just about everything you want with a few multi-effect processors and maybe a few dedicated pedal. So I did this exercise before this. I didn't think I had a lot of pedals, but I counted them. I think I have 60. And that's probably not a lot for a lot of people. I bet there's a lot of people that have more than... I mean, I seriously thought I really don't have that many pedals. But when I really look at what I have, I've mentioned this before, I don't like tube screamers, yet I still keep buying them.
Right.
Thinking that the one that I'm going to run across will be the one that I like. And I do like the Nobles ODR1, and I've bought a bunch of variations of those or pedals based upon that. And I really only use one of them.
You do have the mini one too, don't you?
I don't. I'm probably going to order the new one that's got 4 knobs.
That's real. That's new.
Yeah, that's a newer one that I think that within the last year. And we do really get people. We make effect pedals, and we really do get people, that really, well, I'd like the pedal, but can you make it vertical, or can you? Because it's now, the funny part is our biggest seller is our Throwback Overdrive Boost, which is now in a horizontal format. Originally, it was a vertical format. It's the same circuit, but when it was a vertical format, we got people asking if we could make it horizontal. And now that it's a horizontal format, we have people asking if we can make it in a vertical format. Like, we'd really like to get one, but...
Could you do both, or would that be too confusing?
Yeah, I don't want it. It doesn't make any sense for us to do it. No. Now, then the question is, what's the difference between the vertical and the horizontal one? Right? And
you could be answering that all day.
And I do think people, I'm guilty of this. People think, oh, well, this is the thing that's going to make the difference in my tone, the magic pedal. And I actually have an example of that. Should I show this, Matthew?
Yeah, I want to see it.
So my years ago, I fell into this. I don't know. It's a trap. Is it a trap? The magic pedal. So this was before. I guess this is before the internet, really, as far as being able to buy this stuff online. Guitar Player magazine used to be like, if it had an editor's pick, it seemed to mean something. Was that your impression of it?
Yes.
Yes. So the editor's pick for one of these issues was the Matchless Hot Box. It was the be-all, end-all distortion box that would turn your amp into an AC30. It would provide the supreme tube overdrive, right? And of course, it immediately became impossible to find. I think it may have even been one of these things where it wasn't really on shelves at the time, but it was in the Matchless catalog. And I contacted Elderly Instruments in Lansing, and they ordered me one. And it was, I've got it right here. It was,
show the box.
I will just a minute here, but it was at the time, it was 300. It's got the price on it. It was $328.
What year was that?
Someone's going to know. I don't know. But it was a long time ago. And I ordered it, and it didn't show up. Like for a year and a half. I totally forgot about it. And then when it finally showed up, I had moved on to some other must-have item. And this thing consequently really didn't ever get used. So there it is. It's a Matchless Hot Box. And this is I guess they've made several iterations of this thing. This is the first version of it, I believe. And it's very heavy. Has a regular wall plug for it. And I really never use this. I mean, I tried it and I was like, well, it's fine. But the magic of it had disappeared. Is this a copy of the...
It looks like an article from a magazine.
This may be the review. Cool pedal alert, Matchless Hot Box. I mean, this was in the box there. I mean, it's been that long since I've even looked in this thing. I just pulled it off the shelf. It's, oh, no, this has probably got a date in it. No, this is the warranty, which I never sent in. It says I need to send that into Santa Fe Springs, Matchless. Is there a date on there? No. For that article. Here's the Matchless USA Hot Box instruction sheet. Is there any date on that? Anyway, this thing, is kind of, there's another warranty thing. Is really just sat on a shelf. I tried it. It's good, but it was supposed to be life changing, Matthew.
It says this Art Thompson wrote this review. If you're I assume guitar player, it says
that's your phone ringing. I think you should ignore that.
I'm gonna ignore it. I put it on silent.
You put it.
Mode.
It sounds like you put it on Big Ben mode.
Yeah, I think you can override the silent if you phone twice.
There it is. It looks like I put a wax pencil on it for settings. So I did use this thing for a short bit, trying to dial it in, like got my favorite setting, and this thing's heavy.
Does it have a tube?
It's got a regular wall-mount plug. It's got a tube. It's got at least one tube in it. It's got a gain channel 2, clean volume, bass, treble, output level channel 2.
And did you find it didn't solve the...
Came with some sort of sticker here. It sounds good. It didn't change my world. And I thought it would.
So at the time, probably that was a lot of money then, really.
Yeah, that was a lot of money. Yeah. So it's good, but
so those must be collectible by now.
I guess. I'll put it back in its box there for some sort of archaeological dig in the future.
Yeah. It reminds me of one of like those Morley pedals. Did you ever have one of those?
Oh, yeah. No, they used to be sold here locally. They were actually, my recollection is they were reasonably priced. And I think I remember seeing them at like Rainbow Music and Middleton's Music here in town. And they had all sorts of variations of them. But they were pretty reasonably priced, is my recollection. And I never owned one. I always thought it was odd that every one of them had a pedal on them. Because they would be distortion. Some, it was a wah, obviously, some of them. But some of them had, I think were like a distortion wah. I don't remember. But Never actually bought one of those. Did you ever own one?
No, I never owned one. I just remember as a kid looking at them in, I think, like Circus magazine and things like that, and maybe the Guitar Player magazines. And I sent away and got a sticker.
You wanted the Morley sticker with the guy with the hair with his foot on it?
I think it's like, yes, with this image, I think, of from the bottom up, this sort of drawing.
Yeah.
And then it said Morley men do it with their feet.
Okay. That's quite the stretch for a ad message.
I think that was in the late 70s.
Yeah. But so do you think you can have too many pedals, Matthew? You thought, as you said before, yes. I think you can. I think it's almost inevitable if you play long enough that you're going to end up with 5 versions of the one thing that you liked in a quest to find one that's a little better, and you almost never find it.
Yeah, to be honest, my honest opinion is I think you can have too many.
Yeah.
And I've got a little pedal board, and I've just got I have a reverb pedal on it, and then I've got a tremolo that has been modified by the Analog Man guy.
Yeah.
And then I've got an overdrive boost on it, and then I've got the Nobles.
That's the throwback overdrive boost.
Yes.
You can never have too many of those. So
that's all on kind of. I use it in to kind of just give it a boost, signal boost, and then if I want a little grit, then I'll put the Nobles pedal on.
Yeah, throwback started. I started making my throwback version of a classic distortion or fuzz circuits, and so it came down to 4 over the years. It was the Stonebender, which was our version of a Mark II Tonebender, Soul Sound Tonebender. The Fuzz Haze, which was our version of a Germanium Fuzz Face. The Strange Master, which was our version of a Germanium Rangemaster. Then we modified it to have Silicon range and Germanium mode, which we still offer, and the Overdrive Boost, which was our modified version of the Color Sound Overdriver. And also known as Power Boost, also variation of that. And at some point, it became clear that like our Stonebender we sold a lot of those. For a stretch there, that was kind of the Mark II Tonebender to get. In fact, Seymour Duncan called me up one day and said, hey, I mean, I'd never heard from him before. He said, hey, I hear you make a great Tonebender clone. And he wanted to buy one to play with his Jeff Beck Yardbirds Esquire.
Cool.
And he sent me clips. I didn't even ask. He sent me clips of him playing it, like in studio recordings. Anyway, so we sold a lot of those, but it became clear after a while that the pedal business was about always offering more pedals, right? And that I just didn't find that too compelling over time, because I felt, well, we made these four variations that that I felt offered something unique, kind of in that framework. But it's like, when you come down to a lot of these designs too, there's a few core designs that there are multiple variations of, and but if you look at pedal makers that and just see what their offerings are, it's really about offering, and it's not a slam on anybody, but it's really about having a wide range of products within these very small frameworks of pedals. I guess we're doing the same thing with pickups, but the pickup thing seemed more compelling than the pedals. And I think when I finally realized that what they looked like was really a big, as far as like the graphics was becoming an important part of what people wanted out of them, I thought, like, yeah, I don't really want to come up with a new pedal just because I want it to look cool or make some weird noise. so the upshot of that is our offering is now just the Overdrive Boost and Strange Master, because our other offerings were based upon, well, all of them have germanium transistors, and there have been so many pedals manufactured over the years that use germanium transistors, which are the good ones are new old stock, that we have sort of a stockpile of them that we want to dedicate to those two models at this point. But I'm always amazed though how many variations you can still come up with these things, and I buy them too. I buy I like the Nobles ODR1, and I've bought several variations of those, and I buy ones I don't even like the Tube Screamer.
Did something come today?
Yeah. Two things came today. One was a direct bass pedal.
Oh, the direct bass pedal.
The Ampegs, I forget what it's called, and then a guitar, which is the Collings Model 71. We'll have that in a future episode, maybe next week. We haven't even taken it out of the box because we want to make sure to get that on camera.
It has to get acclimatized. Our UPS driver said it was. He said it was 200 degrees.
In his
truck. It's very hot here today. But, yeah. So that's got to get.
200 degrees sounds like it might be a stretch. But
yes, it is. But
yeah.
He looks pretty on top of it, but he looked a little frazzled today. He said a lot of drivers were keeling over. It's so hot.
Yeah. Okay. So have we exhausted? Did you have more to add about the effect pedals?
No.
Too many. You believe you can?
Yeah. I think I personally. I'd say you go for it if that's what you're into, but I just like I guess I've got 4 or 5 that I consistently use, and I find I'm perfectly happy with that. To me, starts with the amp. I want a nice clean Fender sound, and then you can.
Yeah. I too find like a guitar, I can kind of feel like, I don't know, you can be inspired by a guitar. But the number of pedals that you are inspired by, there are a few where you feel like, oh, I love the tone that I can shape with this pedal. But I think that gets repeatedly used with multiple guitars. Like I've got a pedal that I know I prefer for a Strat and a Telecaster with a Fender amp. And then I have a pedal I prefer for a Les Paul or a 335 with a Fender amp, right? So you get a few of these very particular choices for certain setups, but you're not like it's at its core. You're really dealing with just a few pedals that you use repeatedly. Like there's no way I'm using I'm going through the 60 pedals. But if I pick up a guitar, I will immediately know, oh, this is the setup I like with it, with amp and pedal. So, and yeah, it's very tempting, I think, to go down the road of the shiny new object with pedal. I'm guilty of it myself.
I don't think we advanced to the cool down on the.
Oh well, there
we go.
All right. Well, we're good, Matthew. We're going to go on to your musical musings
already,
and
so
you've. I haven't looked here. This will be new for me.
I thought I would just do a little kind of brief overview. I was thinking to myself, because the last couple of weeks I've done, say, a movie or a book or something. So I thought I would just do some music. So
these are artists?
These are artists.
I guess I do know a little bit. I set up the pages you wanted for this podcast.
Yeah.
But
so these are artists people might be interested in finding. They're touring, or you can find them on Spotify. Maybe they know about them already. One of them was featured in a previous issue of Vintage Guitar Magazine. Young Irish girl by the name of Muireann Bradley.
Yeah, there she is there.
And she's been playing she's been known and she's been playing on television and things for the last couple of years. She's about 18 and a half. So she's quite young, but she's quite, she plays as a pre-war blues.
So this is all acoustic?
All acoustic.
Is it just her, no backing?
Yeah, just her
accompanying herself on the guitar.
Singing, yeah. and she's got a record that came out it's all covers, I believe. I can't remember the name of it, but it's on Spotify. Came out in April, and she's got a few other releases as well. But she's quite accomplished. And I just didn't hear about her until this week, really. But I saw Vintage Guitar did a little write up and a little interview with her in the last 6 months or so. And what else can I tell you? I think she's playing in Europe mainly, but she is going to be playing the Evanston, Illinois Folk Festival in September.
Okay.
So if people are in that neck of the woods, they could check her out. But she's very old timey, you know.
Well, they'll be able to sell expensive tickets in Evanston, I think.
Is that?
I think, yeah, I think so.
And then go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Do you have any other questions? Or?
Well, no, I was just getting ready here in case you need to go to another tab here.
Okay, so the next one is a young blues artist by the name of D.K. Harrell. If I'm pronouncing his name right. He's just had his first release on Alligator. He's had another release before that, but he's just got his first release this month on Alligator Records called Talkin' Heavy, and it's produced by a friend of Throwback, Christopher Anderson.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he produced it at Greaseland Studios.
Oh, I want to hear that. Yeah.
So he's on tour. I think he's playing dates in Europe and in the United States this summer. But his big influence is you can tell by the guitar and things is B.B. King.
Okay, I was going to say maybe Freddie King, just because.
I think
that would make sense too.
Yeah, but he's from Louisiana, and I think he's about 27 or so.
Okay.
He's been around a little bit, but
well, I always find the Kid Anderson recordings very good, sort of in a retro sort of vein, as far as being the way they're produced.
Yeah, it sounds good. His record sounds good. And then the third little thing, people probably know about this. This has been out for a while. There was an IMAX release in the winter. And it's on Netflix now. I think in early June it started appearing.
You saw the IMAX.
I saw the IMAX, yeah. It really wasn't necessary to see it in IMAX, but it was fun because it was kind of an event.
This is Becoming Led Zeppelin we're talking about.
Yeah, and
for the listeners.
For the listeners, Becoming Led Zeppelin is the documentary. It's on Netflix right now, and you can see it on Amazon, but you have to rent it or buy it for on Prime. What's interesting about it is that they found audio interviews with John Bonham. And they apparently had never been heard before. So you get all the other living members are sitting down for sit down interviews, and they give their perspective about what they were doing early in life and how they came together. But you also get to hear from John Bonham in these interviews that hadn't been heard from until this release. So it's from that perspective, it's interesting.
Okay. Should we go to the last?
And then the last one is Mick Jones' birthday today.
Oh, it's his birthday.
As we record this,
how is Mick Jones? How old is he today?
He's 70 years old.
This is Mick Jones of the Clash.
Yeah. So
what I found this now. Is he 70 today?
It's when we're recording this. This is Thursday, the 26th of June. It's his birthday.
Now, so I think he has done the most punk thing possible. So this is him in his heyday.
Right.
And this is him now. And he doesn't care that he is a 70-year-old man. Good for him. Yeah. A balding 70-year-old man. Seriously.
He's very English looking to me.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he has to put on he's obviously doesn't have to put on the air that he is some rocker that has to look like he's in his 20s.
Yeah.
He's a rocker that looks like he's 70. And that's just fine.
He's with Paul Simeon there, the bass player from the Clash.
Yeah, neither one of them look like they're trying to fake it.
No.
No.
So I thought we'd wish him a happy birthday.
Yeah, no, he'll get a facelift tomorrow probably, won't he?
No.
He actually looks pretty good. I'm surprised he, you would think that hard lifestyle that he, who knows if he may have been very straight as an arrow. But
I don't know. Yeah. And if you read there at the bottom, it says Joe Strummer, he died 2002. So that's a while ago.
Okay. Well, good for him. I'm really mean it, seriously.
Was there
I wouldn't want him to try to look like,
Is there a particular Clash song that you liked?
I liked This Is it called? Was it This Is Radio Clash? What was it? From Private Satellite?
From the Sandinista record?
I don't know. I just see my introduction to them was during MTV, because they were one of the few bands that had videos.
Okay.
At the very beginning of it, so I like that song a lot. And then they is it called Radio Clash? Is that the name of the song? And I did see them.
Is it from the Combat Rock record?
I don't even know.
No.
I never bought the record. But I did see them open up for The Who, where they got booed off the stage. I mentioned.
You mentioned that before.
In our earlier podcast. And they were good. I don't know why they got booed off, but I think they got booed off because The Who was very late.
And people were tired of waiting by that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that I'd say, and Should I Stay or Should I Go? Like that too. And Rockin' the Casbah, that's okay.
That's all Combat Rock. I like the stuff from London Calling, like
I like that too.
Lost in the Supermarket and Train in Vain, and
I like London Calling.
Yeah.
So okay, but yeah, an old rocker living in the reality,
yes.
right there. Okay, good for him. Okay, so this goes on now. We're going to go on here, Matthew, to
guitar regrets.
The guitar regret. I didn't mention this before. This is going to be my guitar regret. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. I want to hear the story.
It's called Goodwill Hunting, is how I named it, because Goodwill plays a part in this. The
thrift store.
The thrift store. It does great work, and periodically has guitars. So at some point, Goodwill went online with a shop, Goodwill. I assume it's still there.
Yeah, don't look at it. You probably should look at it.
Yeah, and they would have guitars on there with not the greatest of photographs, because it's Goodwill. They have someone that donates a guitar. They don't know what's good and what isn't. They don't know what the things are that you have to look at to kind of evaluate the value. And these were real auctions, right? So eBay, of course, started out as an auction site, and then at some point really became a, buy at this price, buy or make offer site. Well, Goodwill, Shop Goodwill was an auction site at the time. I assume still is, but I don't know. It's been so long since I was there. They had a Gibson B25. It looked to be around 1967 on their site. A friend of ours, Breck, pointed it out to me, and I thought, I'll bid on that. And these things often get bid up to crazy prices. I don't know why. On Shop Goodwill, at least at the time they did. But this guitar was obviously in rough shape. It had a bridge that had one of these adjustable bridges that was missing the insert, and the bridge piece was cracked and loose. It was beyond repair, the bridge. And the back of the guitar had multiple long cracks, and one of the braces was broken out. You could you knew it was bad because you could see this from a not very detailed photograph.
Okay.
Right. But I thought if I got this at the right price, I could turn it into something that I could play, and it wouldn't be a ton of money, because I actually already had the replacement bridge that it needed, because over the years I just kept an eye out for oddball parts that would show up on eBay that I knew one day I might need for a style of guitar I liked. And I like these 60s eras Gibsons, J45s, 50s, and a B25. And lo and behold, I had that part. So I thought, I can put this part to work, and I'll bid on it. See what I can. If the bid's not too high, I'll have sort of a cheap player grade fixer upper. So I won it, and I think I won it for $150. Oh, the other part of this is it was in Muskegon.
Right. So just
It's Muskegon,
Just west of
Michigan.
here.
It was in a Goodwill location in Muskegon. So I thought I can just go. I won't even have to pay shipping. I'll just go pick it up.
Right.
Right. It's 45 minutes from here or so, 45, 50 minutes. I won it. So I go to the Goodwill store to pick it up in Muskegon. And again, remember, I already know this guitar has
Problems.
then I've accepted that. It has multiple cracks on the back, and it's missing a bridge, but I have the part, right? Otherwise, it's complete, and I think I should be able to fix this, into something that you can play. Not really worth a lot, but something I can play. So I get there, and they bring the guitar out, and it has a broken headstock.
Now, how badly was the headstock broken? Like
It was still attached to the guitar. So this is where the guitar regret comes out. I drove to Muskegon. I've won this thing for $150, and now it's like it's even worse than I thought. Now, mind you, at the time, $150. This it seemed like it seemed like a good deal, but it wasn't a screaming good deal. If you saw how bad this thing was, right? It was, but
and they couldn't have photographed the headstock?
They didn't. They had just a photograph of the entire guitar, and the photograph was so bad you could not tell the headstock was broken. It was still attached to the guitar. The headstock was, but it was split on the front and separated on the front and below the fretboard, and I think the shots of the back didn't even show the back of the headstock. It was a close up of the body, and the only front photo was this far away shot, and then a close up of the body that showed the brace. So they never thought to take a close up photo of the headstock and the brake, and so they brought it out, and I said, "This thing has a headstock brake." And frankly, I would not have bid on it in any. I said, "I don't know if you're aware, but this is considered a catastrophic problem for this guitar." And I wouldn't have bid on it if I knew it had this headstock break. I said, "You probably didn't know that this was a problem, but like of the damage this has, this is potentially the worst of it." And, I bid on it not knowing this, and I really don't want it at this point. And then she said, well, what, how much you want to pay for it? And I said, $50. And she said, okay.
That was your go away price?
That was my go away price. And I hadn't paid for it. I told them I would, pay when I picked it up.
Right.
And I was like, okay, sure. I'll got it for $50. And so in the end, it turned out well. I got a vintage Gibson guitar for $50, and I made it into something I can play, and I have it right here.
You going to show everybody?
Should I turn the drum roll on?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Drum roll, please.
Oh, here we go. Hold on. Okay, here it is. Okay, we'll go to a wide shot.
Go to a wide shot now.
All right. There it is. It's even got I guess maybe this is a 67, 68. It has the reverse belly bridge. 68, they started to have this part flipped around. So I guess this could be a 67. I haven't really investigated the... now, I mean, if you look at it right now, it doesn't look too bad, does it? I replaced this. This is actually Gibson bridge, correct for the era that I had. Brand new. The original one on here was all split out, and there was no fixing it.
Would it the original been slightly different than that, or is it
no?
same?
Exactly like this. Exactly like this. I did put it was minus this insert, ceramic insert. It probably would have been mahogany, but Graphtec makes a replacement for this, so I put one of those in. It's I guess it's what's Graphtec's Tusk
Yep.
insert for that. And now you can't. Well, if you look closely, maybe you can see here. You can if you look closely, there are multiple cracks in the back here, and it took 14 cleats to hold the back together on this. I did it myself. And I think I can get some photos of some of the cleats in here. There's a couple right there. Let's see. Anyway, those keep going down.
Oh, there you go. See them diamond shaped, yeah.
Yeah, those cleats keep going down basically to over maybe 2/3 of the length of this back, and there were multiple cracks in it. And but it's solid now, and I'll show the headstock break. I think you can see it right there by the nut.
Right.
It's split there. Now, luckily, the others along the side of the fingerboard, I don't think you're going to see. But luckily, it could be glued back together. When I got it, actually, I thought it was much worse because on the back, there's also a finish. Well, there's what looks like a crack right here. It is a crack, but it's just a finish crack. Because I tried to open that up to get some glue in there. It was not a crack. What happened is the headstock got hit here, and it created a stress fracture in the finish on the back here, but not actually in the wood. So, all in all, it turned out to be turned from a guitar regret to a guitar. What would you call it?
Success, save,
A guitar
resurrection.
Serendipitous guitar moment.
Yeah, because that guitar probably would have been trashed.
Oh, someone tried very hard to trash it.
Yeah.
It was so split. Actually, my experience with guitars like this too is if you get one that's been seriously abused like that, it had no fretware. You just had someone that got pissed off at either whoever owned the guitar and destroyed it, or someone who was very frustrated trying to learn to play it and destroyed it. But if it's able to be made whole, my experience is that they're usually, they're really not very used. They're just abused. Okay, so that's the guitar regret. The 67 B25, maybe a 68. Oh, I've got one of those Diodario tuners right there. They're pretty cool.
Little sound hole turner.
Yeah. Okay. My $50 player grade vintage guitar, we'll put it back.
What do you think it's worth now?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. It's hard I always find it hard to, I don't know what someone would pay for that thing. It plays great. I mean, but it's obviously devalued because of the damage it had. But, I don't know. You got to guess, $500, $800? I have no idea.
I was thinking 600 or probably between 5 and 8.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm actually always surprised how much stuff like that goes for. Like if that was at Elderly, I'd bet it'd be over $1,000. It's repaired well, and it's still got the the only non-original part on it is that bridge insert piece. I think it replaced the tuners too. Also, the other cool part about getting a guitar like that is I think it's worth it for if you're a collector. It's often worth it even if you can't really make it whole. If you can get a good enough price, you've the tuners that were on that I probably put on another guitar that wasn't messed up. So you can kind of not part them out, but I don't know. It's sort of a resource for stuff if in the worst case scenario. Okay. All right. We're going to the outro here. You didn't have you don't have a guitar regret little short story here, do you?
I don't. No, not today. Not today.
Okay. All right, Matthew, we've made it to about an hour here. This is another, let's start the music here.
Another episode in the can.
Another episode of the Throwback Guitar Lounge. Airing every Saturday. And I think we've been doing the live stream. We did 2 live streams on Ask Throwback Thursday. At the moment, we're thinking maybe once a month for that.
Yeah, I think so.
And so if we'll try to shoot for first or second month, so first, second Thursday of the month. We'll send out a notification for that when that happens. But that's been going well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you've got requests for a guitar argument, leave it in the comments. If you have ideas for Matthew for how he can improve his ads,
Yeah, we'll take that.
we already have one.
We'll take your criticism.
He'll try to handle it with grace and humility. Okay, thank you all for watching and listening, and we'll see you for episode 9.
Thanks very much for watching.